Hello all, this is Brian with Vermillion Enterprises. We are located at 5324 Spring Hill Drive in sunny Spring Hill, Florida. And we are open for business Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I'm here and we got Tim behind the counter. He's the Earl Hindman of Vermillion Enterprises. And we're putting together a video today. It is, what season is it, Tim?
Thanksgiving.
It's not quite yet. You're close. It's Halloween season, spooky, scary season. So I figured for everyone's entertainment purposes, infotainment, I guess, I would tell a couple scary stories related to the bullion industry and see what kind of response we get from it. What do you think, Tim?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, like I said, it's Halloween. So it's scary stories time. It's telling scary stories around the campfire, Tim. You should have like a campfire. Can you do that? Can you overlay a campfire in front of me that runs through the entire video? Is that possible?
Campfire and the whole video. Okay, I'll see what I can do.
I don't know if you can do that through the whole video. I know you can have one pop up, obviously.
I know I can have it pop up throughout the whole video. I'll see what I can do for you.
All right. So we're going to discuss two bullion dealers that went bankrupt in the last 10 years and how they affected their customers. And for our season stackers out there, you probably already know who I'm going to talk about. For the newbies, this may be an eye-opener for you. And everything I discussed today, well documented online via media outlets and also federal court documents. So there's nothing that I'm saying that you guys can't find access to or have access to and do your own research on. So it's all widely available information out on the interwebs. All right, so the first company I'm going to discuss is Northwest Territorial Mint. They are located up in the Seattle area. And let's see, they operated, their business model was they were like a straight up bullion business. They were involved in the selling and the buying, exchanging, storing, leasing gold, silver, and other precious metals like platinum, palladium, and I'm not sure if they're involved in rhodium or not. But they started in 1985, and they went for about 30 years before they went sideways. And that's interesting to me that a company can start out and go for so long before they turn sour. But they did. They started out in the mid-80s and went all the way up until about 2016. So what happened here? The owner, I'm not going to mention names, so you can find all this information out online if you want to. The owner and his vault manager, who were in a romantic relationship together, were basically running a Ponzi scheme. And they were using the money that they were pulling out from their customers to live this over-the-top lavish lifestyle, as most cases with the Ponzi scheme. And it was like a traditional straight-up Ponzi scheme, exactly what you think of. So they were taking money from new customers and either using it for their own personal gain, or they were using it to pay off old customers or use it to satisfy the deals from old customer deals. And but as with all Ponzi schemes, or at least most Ponzi schemes, I guess, it eventually got to the point where it just exploded and they couldn't keep up and the business went insolvent. And that happened in about 2015, 2016. So they went about 30 years before they went completely bad. And so when the dust settled, over 3,000 people, customers, lost over $30 million worth of money. And what is that, Tim? About $10,000 per person, give or take?
Sounds like it.
Is that what that is? Let's do this. Yep, that's $10,000 on average per customer. Now, obviously, some customers had a little bit of money in there. Some had a lot of money in there. But $10,000 per average customer lost. So a little bit of the breakdown on that. 2,500 customers paid for or had ordered gold and silver, or they had paid for their orders for gold and silver bullion products, maybe platinum too, that were just never fulfilled. And they never got made right on it. So that's about 2,500 customers. And that amount was about $25 million. That was just gone to wherever it went. Fancy trips, fancy cars, jewelry, whatever, just gone. And they also defrauded customers, and this is the interesting part, and this is the reason why I'm talking about this. They also defrauded customers who were actually paying Northwest Territorial Mint to store precious metals that they had already bought and paid for. So they had actually bought and paid for precious metals, gold and silver, bullion products, and were paying these guys to hold the inventory in their vaults. And so the owner and the vault manager, they were using those precious metals that were bought and paid for as being stored there by somebody else, right? To either fulfill old orders to try to keep the boat going, or they actually just sold the material outright and used the money for their own personal doings, business. And that was over $4.9 million worth of loss. And there was about 50 or so customers that got tied up in that for about $4.9 million. So paying some company to store your precious metals, they used it for their own benefit, and approximately 4.9 million were lost. So that's pretty scary, huh, Tim?
That's very scary.
That's pretty scary. And how did they get away with it for such a long period of time? How did they dig themselves into such a deep hole? Well, going into it, they had a great reputation. And what they would do is you call in, you place your order. Of course, you have to pay up front. And then they would, they give you an estimated time of delivery. But then that time of delivery kept getting pushed back and pushed back. Promises were being made but weren't being kept on delivery times. But enough people kept ordering while they were going south that they found themselves in this $30 million hole. So you call in and say, hey, I want to buy 200 silver rounds. Okay, well, how long is it going to take to get? Well, we should be able to deliver in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, well, that time comes and goes. And all of a sudden it's 6, 7, 8 weeks. Hey, where's my product? Oh, we're trying, we're behind. We're going to get it to you in the next week. Okay, well, a month goes by. Then all of a sudden it's 4 months and then nothing. So that's pretty much what happened in that scenario. And it came all crashing down in 2016. Now, the vault manager and the owner, they were punished criminally for what happened. One was sentenced to like 4 or 5 years, the other to 11 years, and went to actual prison. I'm not sure, that was in 2020, 2021, something like that, so I'm not sure where they're actually at in those prison sentences at this point. Personally, I actually reached out to them. I remember this was like right at the beginning, and a buddy of mine told me, hey, Northwest Territories, they're selling silver dirt cheap. And that was their hook, right? Because they were selling it so cheap. I remember they were offering it like 60 cents over or something like that at the time. I'm like, oh shit. Well, I called in, I was going to order 3 or 4 boxes of rounds, which would be like 1,500, 2,000 rounds. And I remember talking to the woman on the phone, and I asked her, well, what's your delivery time? And she said, at the time, she said 4 weeks. And I was like, well, that doesn't work for me. I'm not interested. So I passed, and thank God I passed. My buddy wasn't so lucky. He ordered some, never came. He lost his money outright. It was thousands of dollars and just gone. And he was never made whole on it. It was not worth him risking his insurance over it. So he just straight up ate it. And that sucks. That sucks. He was one of the straight up victims that was never compensated for his loss, unfortunately. And as were 2,999 other victims. And that is a real shit show. So that is about one of the scariest stories I could come up with in the bullion business, Tim. What do you think?
Yeah, it's probably good to mention that we only sell product that we actually have.
Yeah, we're going to cover that at the end of the video. But that's right. I don't sell anything that I don't have in my possession. Not because I'm afraid I can't get it down the road, but because I know how things can get delayed and as soon as you say you're going to do something, Murphy's Law presents itself and everything just gets torn upside down, and it's just not something we do. So if we don't own it, hold it, we don't sell it. And that's just, I think, good business for everybody. Now, that's one story. Now I got another story that also affected people that I know, but luckily we dodged the bullet on both of these. So there was a company called Republic Metals. They operated in a little town outside of Miami, Florida. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have know of them, may know of this story. You may own bullion that they make, because there's a lot of Republic Metals bullion floating around out there. So they were a refinery and bullion dealer, made their own bullion, made good product. Again, started in the 80s. It is a family-owned business. The father started it in the 80s. He passed away in, I want to say 2013-ish. I forget what the year was, but then the kids took over after that. And it took them less than 5 years to go insolvent. There was an audit that was performed, and throughout the course of a year, I think it was 2016, 2017, along those lines, they lost, on paper, $70 to $100 million worth of precious metals. Couldn't find it. It was just gone. $70 to $100 million worth of precious metals. Can you imagine, Tim?
I don't want to.
$70 to $100 million, just gone. So they had an internal audit, and I think the reason why the audit came up was because they were trying to sell the industry, the business, and of course, you got to have proof of your finances, and they couldn't find $70 to $100 million worth of gold and silver. That just is mind-blowing to me. And it was the same story as before. The children, it was a brother and a sister, were using that money to live a very over-the-top lavish lifestyle. Incredible trips overseas, beach houses they were buying, condos they were buying, of course, cars and everything else, and they were just blowing through the money. $70 to $100 million. And the people who lost money during this venture were every spectrum of the economic spectrum that every aspect that you can think of. Lenders, dealers, the public, and everything from big banks that lent them money to big-time melters, to small businesses like myself that would use them to send in scrap to people who were buying bullion from them. And so everybody lost money with these guys. It wasn't just the retail side of it. So, and of course, the bullion side of it and the unsecured debt side of it just was a loss. It was a complete 100% loss. And eventually a settlement was reached for 5 of the big banks. They got $16 million back of their money. But all of the unsecured creditors, so guys like myself and bigger and smaller companies and entities, lost. One company, one precious metals dealer lost $8 million. $8 million. And worth of scrap gold and silver that they sent them just disappeared, just gone. And they never were made whole out of that. One dealer I personally know, he lost about $17,000 worth of gold and silver that he had sent into him. So what companies like myself, whether they're bigger or smaller, would do is, all the gold scrap that we buy, like the class rings and the chains and the stuff like that, and the sterling silver flatware and the sterling jewelry that we buy across the counter, businesses were shipping it to these guys, and they were refining it and then paying them out based on whatever the assay was on that scrap metal. And Republic Metals was doing that for a very long time. And so they had built a great reputation up until this point. And so a large number of companies like myself were sending them scrap and wouldn't think twice about it. And so, but eventually they went bad, and some dealers and some of the public got tied up into that at enormous numbers, $8 million. And how can you get to $8 million worth of scrap? That's not just one shipment, but these guys had such a great reputation that dealers were just like, okay, send them product, thinking that eventually they're going to get paid, as they had for years and years before, thinking that there'd be no problem. They probably just got a little hiccup in their business. No worries, we're going to get paid. Well, eventually it came to a point where they just didn't get paid and literally got screwed. So that's, for a business owner, as scary as it really can be, next to being robbed, like someone breaking in or robbing. So campfire, scary story there, Tim. Yeah. So that's the scary part of it. Where's the like the anger side of it, the frustration side of it? Here's where it's like makes you, like, as a business owner, just completely pissed off, mad. In this situation with Republic, the feds and Republic, the family members of the owned Republic at the time, actually reached a deal where there was no prosecution of their crimes, nor did they have to pay any kind of fine. They literally walked away. They had to cooperate in an ongoing investigation with another refinery that was illegally in the gold trade, and so they helped the feds cooperate to bring down this other refinery. That's all well documented. You can read about that online if you choose to. I'm not going to get into that side of it. I'm just sticking to how this side of it here. Not only were they allowed to walk away without prosecution and no fines, they were allowed to keep the business and sell it for $25 million to Asahi. So, isn't that crazy? So they had to pay back 5 banks $16 million, right? They kept the other missing $54 million to $84 million that was missing, just gone. And then were allowed to sell the business for $25 million to Asahi. So they literally, it's like the biggest heist that I could think of ever. They literally walked away with it. Because all that gold and silver, that $70 to $100 million worth of lost metal, it just poof, went away. They kept it. They kept that money. And they only had to give $16 million back to their 5 big banks that were their 5 big creditors. That's it. All the unsecured debt, like that dealer that lost $8 million, just gone. I knew a guy that lost the $17,000 worth of scrap, just gone. Never made whole. Literally just a loss. Allowed to keep the business and then sell it for $25 million. So they basically walked away with $100 million. Tax-free. No penalty, because they were willing to cooperate with the federal government. Isn't that amazing? What's the moral of that story, Tim? If you're going to do bad things, make sure you got really good lawyers. That's the moral of that story.
Who was that lawyer in Seinfeld?
Oh, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. Yes. I don't remember. That guy was pretty funny though.
Remember who he was based off of, but Seinfeld's funnier.
Yeah. No, I don't remember that guy's number. But that's amazing, huh? That's two of the scariest stories I can think of. There's a couple other that I know of. If you like these scary stories, I can tell others of people in the business. But these are the 2 big ones. And that directly affected people that I knew or do know. And luckily, we as Vermillion Enterprises dodged both bullets, but a lot of good people didn't. And it's very unfortunate. So why did I do this video? Well, for a couple reasons. One is I want people who buy and sell gold or not buy and sell, but buy gold and silver bullion products and platinum too, to be very wary of buying it from companies who do not offer live delivering, who are saying right out the gate you got an extended wait time, and or have a history of pushing back those wait times for delivery. Just be very careful with that. I'm not saying you're going to get screwed, but I'm saying there's a history of that happening. The precedent has been set. So just be very careful doing business with entities that operate that way. That's one reason. There is, especially if it's happening right now, because there is absolutely no delays in the bullion industry at all. We can order anything that's a traditional bullion SKU, and it will ship within 24 hours from any of our distributors. So there's no delays on anything that's traditional. Now, if you're buying some like one-off stuff or some non-traditional stuff that's special ordered, okay, that there could be delays on that. Your limited edition stuff, sure. But if you're just buying bulk bullion, whether it's eagles or rounds or bars, whether it's gold, silver, platinum, there's no delays at all right now. So no distributor, no bullion dealer should be saying it's going to be 4 weeks. That's not happening at this point in time. So just be very wary of that. That's one reason why I did this. Another reason is every week I get asked by at least one person, literally, and I'm not exaggerating this, every week someone asks me about what I think, is it a good idea for this customer that's asking me to store their precious metals with one of these companies that advertise online, hey, we have a vault, you can securely store your precious metals in this vault, our vault. And, of course, pay us basically a rental fee to do so. Well, there's an old saying in this industry that goes, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And that's exactly what those poor 50 people found out that were renting space in Northwest Territorial Mint's vaults. Once push come to shove, their stuff was gone, and just gone. $4.9 million worth it that they were never made whole on. Now, am I saying that that's going to happen with all the vaults out there that offer this? Of course not. There's obviously good companies out there that offer this. But two things. If one of those companies that you or a customer has their precious metals stored in their vaults goes south, like it goes bad, they got bad characters operating there, you might have real problems acquiring your stuff back. Well, we already seen that happen. Or two, if things really pop off in this country, economically things go south for everybody, yeah, good luck. Your stuff's, you may have a real difficult time getting your precious metals that you put real hard-earned equity into, getting it back. So I'm not saying hide all your precious metals under a mattress. You need to be very thoughtful about where you're putting your precious metals. It needs to be in a secured place where literally only one other person that you trust wholeheartedly knows where it's at, and that's it. So that's, we don't like to hand out advice here, but that's like one piece of advice that I will always give somebody. And another thing, so that kind of goes along with the the Northwest Territorial Mint snafu. Getting back to the Republic Metals one, here's, this is another piece of advice I do give people often, and now, I don't give a lot of advice, but every once in a while we do. Don't compile orders. So this is where people got in trouble with Republic Metals, is they kept sending stuff in, making orders. Do a transaction, see it all the way through from start to finish before you do another transaction. This company up in, I think they were up in New York, that lost $8 million in the Republic Metals situation. They were just kept sending gold, kept sending silver to be refined, and without getting paid, because they trusted Republic Metals, and because they had a long history together up until this point. They had a great reputation, and so they just kept sending things. Oh, I'm going to get paid someday. So, and that turned out to be an $8 million lesson for that company and for the rest of us too. So we need to, 8 million, 8 million. That so the deal is, just do a transaction with a company, whoever it may be, and wait until either you get paid before you do another transaction with them, or you receive the product from them that you purchased. Don't allow a situation to snowball into a place where you have a catastrophic loss if one's going to happen. So that's the reason why I did this video, as one, it's fitting with the time of the year that it is, and also just a couple lessons for people who may be interested in getting into the bullion game. Old season stackers, they already know these lessons, but we got a lot of new people entering stacking, and we just want to help them out as much as we can. So anything you want to add to that, Tim?
There's Johnny Cochran is the real.
Yeah, that was the
lawyer.
guy off of the
But
character.
I can't remember. No, that was the real one.
Mhm.
I can't remember. Jackie.
No, I don't know.
Let me know in the comments, people.
Yeah. So, yeah, and in the comments, if you guys, anyone, guys and gals, had any personal experience with either of these companies that you think might be interesting for the group to read about, please, by all means, tell your story in the comments section. Let other people know of your situation that happened so everyone can learn together. And I think it could hopefully help at least the new people that are coming into stacking gold and silver for the first time. And I think I'll wrap it up there. But if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section here. And Tim or myself will do our best to answer them and respond to them. And as always, we appreciate all the business you guys have been sending our way. Orders were very brisk yesterday, and we appreciate that. And hopefully they'll continue throughout the weekend. And we're going to leave this video up forever, so you guys can always see it and comment on it if you like. And hopefully everyone enjoys it. We appreciate it, and you guys have a great weekend and have a great, safe Halloween. Thank you.